Some executive orders. But before that, I want to encourage you guys to support the channel by hitting the like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. And think about becoming a member. And most of all, stay for some of the content because our reactions are priceless. Like a lot of things that we discuss and talk about, I see it on other channels, but when we title our videos like President Trump signs executive orders, it's the conversations that are golden. So try to skip to the conversations as well, because a lot of times our videos are pretty long. But anyway, my name is Cindy. My co-host is Elijah. So we're going to go to Trump and signing executive orders. I know he came back from England. We didn't even cover it. We just took a little time out. But thanks for joining us, you guys.
Ready? Well, thank you very much. As you know, we passed the continuing resolution in the Republican House today. It was an amazing vote, actually. It showed we want to keep things going and going properly. It was good for a lot of reasons. The Republicans want to keep government open. But in the Senate, we have 53 Republicans total, and we need 60 votes. That means we need Democrat votes. I want to thank Senator John Fetterman. He wants to keep the country open. We're doing so well as a country. We're doing probably better than ever before. If you look at the stock market and other indicators, we have tremendous investment coming in, record investment coming. Everything's going well, but the Democrats aren't happy about that because they don't want it to go well. I think they actually dislike our country greatly. So they want to shut down the country. They want to have open borders. They want to stop the fighting of crime, where we've been very successful. The D.C., as you know, Washington, D.C. is it's a hot place right now. Everyone's having dinners. They're going out all over. There's very little crime. They haven't seen numbers like this in many, many years. And other places, as you know, we're going into Memphis. We'll soon be going into Chicago. We've already had people out there and in there, and FBI's been there. We've brought the numbers down, but we're going to be bringing them down a whole lot. But I guess they want crime and we fight crime, and it's a pretty big difference. They want to have men playing women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. And if they don't get everything that they want, all these things that they want that are proven so badly, they want to close our government down. We're not going to let bad things happen to our country. We're not going to approve things that we shouldn't be approving. Just today, the House Democrats voted against condemning the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. Who could vote against that? And condemning all this, saying, please condemn the assassination of a human being. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. Remember this, we had an election a very short time ago. Republicans won presidential. We won the popular vote by a lot. We won all 7 swing states. We won the Electoral College by a lot. We won most U.S. counties in a total landslide. So we won most, it's a very big statistic. We won the counties in a number that I don't believe has been hit before, 2,600 counties versus 525 counties for the Democrats. So the Democrats really should start respecting what takes place at the voter booth. In many cases, it's not a voter booth because they have mail-in voting, which is a very corrupt situation. But despite that, we won in a landslide. And we have to remember, when you win the election, elections have consequences. So we'll continue to talk to the Democrats, but I think you could very well end up with a closed country for a period of time. And we'll take care of the military, we'll take care of Social Security, we'll take care of the things that we have to take care of. A lot of the things that Democrats fight for, which in many cases aren't very good things, will not be able to be paid. So we'll watch and see how they do with that. They'll have to handle the constituents pretty carefully. So we're proud to announce that we won the House. We did fine in the Senate, but we need 60 votes. So we have 53 senators, and we need 60 votes. That means the Democrats have to vote in the Senate. And I don't think they will be voting. Now, what we're doing, we're really here today to talk about something else, which is the gold card, which is going to bring a lot of money into our country, which is going to reduce taxes and lots of other good things. But we'll save that for a little bit later. Why don't we do this first, and then we'll talk about the gold card, okay? Any questions, Jeff?
Your call with President Xi, your call this morning with President Xi.
It was great. I had a great call with President Xi, and as you know, he approved the Tik Tok deal, and we're in the process. We have some great investors, some of the biggest in the world, American investors, great people, and we look forward to getting that deal closed.
Is it fully approved? The Chinese statement's been necessarily
Well,
indicate that.
I think so. I mean, when you say fully approved, I don't know what that means. We have to get it signed. I guess it could be a formality. I found his word to be very good. President Xi and I had a long talk. We talked for almost 2 hours, and it started at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I think it was a very good talk. We talked about trade. We talked about war. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about Russia, Ukraine, obviously, and Gaza. Talked about a lot of subjects. It was a long call. It was a good call. We have a very good relationship. But the Tik Tok deal is well on its way, as you know, and the investors are getting ready. And I think China wanted to see it stay open too. They wanted to see it, and I can tell you the young people in our country wanted to see it stay open very badly because, and if you take a look at my numbers, no Republican has ever done anything like we did. We got massive numbers of youth vote, and by the way, helped very much by Charlie Kirk. So Charlie was very much in favor of TikTok. He liked TikTok, and he said, you know, you should use it. And other people said that too, and I used it, and I don't know, I think I set records. I looked at numbers that are phenomenal. We'll pass them out to you. And it had probably a pretty big effect on the election, because we won the election by a lot. So we are in a situation where in a little while, meaning a number of days, we'll probably, I don't know if you can make a deal with these people. I think these people are crazy. You know, again, anybody wants open borders and don't want to fight. They don't want to fight crime. They hate to fight crime. And in Chicago, last weekend you had 11 people killed, murdered, and you had 28 shot. And those numbers have been pretty consistent all throughout that period of time. Whether it was 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 11 people, 12 people killed, murdered. And they don't want to spend money to fight crime. And it's not even much money, relatively speaking, it's very little. But we're going there anyway, it doesn't make any difference. We're going to Chicago, we're going to Memphis next. And we're going to clean up the crime in the cities because we have to do that, okay?
With this deal today, are you confident that the CCP won't be exerting control?
Yeah, we're gonna have a very tight control. And look, it's an amazing thing that's been created. There's tremendous value with TikTok. And I'm a little prejudiced because I frankly did so well on it. You know, it got me numbers that nobody's ever even heard of before. So a lot of people want it. The young people of this country want it badly. The parents of those young people want it badly. And so we were able to work out a deal with China. And it's a very good deal for us. I hope it's a good deal for them.
Would you accept a deal where China controls the algorithm of TikTok?
Well, it's all being worked out. We're gonna have very good control. We have these are American investors, all of them. And they all love our country. They're all very well-known people, very famous people actually, financially. And they'll have control of it. And I want to thank President Xi because he was a gentleman, and we've just had a good relationship, and we wanted a lot of people in this country wanted to be open. And again, if it weren't open, maybe, I don't know, I think we won by so much it wouldn't have mattered, but we got a lot of votes. We got a lot of Republican votes from very young people. You go ahead, Jeff.
Because the Russian jets entered October 30th, for 12 minutes. Do you see that as a threat to NATO?
Well, I'm gonna have to look at it. They're gonna be briefing me in a short while, so I'll let you know about it tonight or tomorrow.
What's your take in general?
Well, I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love it when that happens. Could be big trouble, but I'll let you know later. They're gonna brief me in about an hour.
And a follow-up on Charlie Kirk, there's been a lot of talk about free speech this week. Do you see a difference between cancel culture and consequence culture?
Well, I mean, your question's a little trick question. I'm a very strong person for free speech. At the same time, when you have networks that where I won an election, like in counties, I guess it's 2,600 to 525. That's called landslide, a landslide times two. When you have that kind of, that level of popularity or voter support, as I did in the last election, and yet 97 and 94%, different numbers, you see different numbers with different stats, but 97, 94, 95, 96% of the people are against me in the sense of the newscasts are against me. The stories are they said 97% bad. So they gave me 97, they'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal, personally. You can't have a free airwaves, you're getting free airwaves from the United States government, and you can't have that and say, and somebody that just won an election, and I had to go through this during the election. I think it's a miracle that I can win when 97% of the stories on the networks are bad, or whatever it may be, whether it's 89, doesn't matter, it's a tremendous number. You know it, you report it all the time, and it changes. But when you have that kind of a negative reporting, fake negative reporting, when they take a great story and they make it into a bad story constantly, that's what they do. Look, 60 Minutes took Kamala's answer and they threw it out and they gave her a different answer so that she sounded competent. When things like that happen, George Slopadopoulos from your network, right? George Slopadopoulos had to pay $16 million to me because of what he said. And that's ABC. You had to pay more than that. Your network had to pay more than that. So I think it's very sad. But I think that reporting has to be at least accurate to an extent. Again, when somebody is given 97% of the stories are bad about a person, that's no longer free speech, that's no longer anything, that's just cheating. And they cheat. And they become really members of the Democrat National Committee. That's what they are, the networks, in my opinion. They're just offshoots of the Democrat National Committee.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
Liam Costro with Zero Hedge. People are still anticipating who your pick for national security advisor will be. They're worried Marco Rubio is a little overworked, and one of the reported front runners is Michael Anton from the State Department.
He's good.
He just offered the national security strategy. Also in the mix is Mike Flynn and
Good.
Steve Witkoff. Can you give us an indication?
Well, they're all good. We'll make a decision soon. But we're doing very well. You know, I settled 7 wars, more than that, I think. But actually, we settled 7 wars. I have, working on Gaza, it's a tough one, but we'll get it done somehow. And we're also working with Russia and Ukraine. They hate each other so much, you wouldn't believe it. President Putin and President Zelensky, they hate each other to a level that you wouldn't believe. So they're having a little bit of a problem with that.
And are you considering Stephen Moran for Fed chair?
I hadn't thought of it too much. He's doing a great job, just got approved. His vote was a very good one. The Fed should have done more. You know, too late. Powell, it's terrible. It's terrible chair. I think it's just terrible. But despite that, we're powering through it. We have another record stock market today. We're very, very high levels, and we're at the highest levels. So we're setting records. Many, many days during my administration, we set records, and we'll see what happens with 50,000. 50,000 is a pretty big number. Never come close. We're not so far away from it. So that's because they see what's happening. Not so much what's happening exactly right now, but they see all the plants that are being built. They see the kind of investment that's going to be made. When you take $17 trillion, so Biden had $250 billion, okay? or putting a simpler way, they had much less than $1 trillion, but they had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. I have 17 trillion for 8 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think they're looking at that and they're saying, when those plants open, right now they're being built, a lot of them, some are starting over the next year. It takes a while, but we're getting fast permits. And when those plants get built, I don't think there'll be anything like what we're going to experience. Jim?
President, if I can, on the tough subject of free speech, Ted Cruz compared Brendan Carr to a mob boss, the way he's threatening television stations and saying it's absolutely dangerous for the government to determine which speech is okay and which is not. What's your reaction to Ted Cruz?
I think Brendan Carr is an incredible American patriot with courage. You know, it used to be, I remember in the old days that networks would have to get licensed, relicensed, and it was always a big deal. You know, they had to show honesty and integrity. When you have a network, again, I'll use the same numbers, whether it's 90 or 94 or 97, all different numbers, but when you have networks that give somebody 97% bad publicity or 94% bad publicity, I think that's dishonesty. And you know, they're getting free airwaves, right? You know that, right? You get them for nothing. These airwaves, they make millions and millions of dollars. The news makes millions of dollars. ABC, your network. I mean, your network wrote very badly about me. They had to pay me $16 million.
So you think
I wasn't looking for that.
Brendan Carr's right to?
No, I think Brendan Carr is a patriot. I think Brendan Carr is a courageous person. I think Brendan Carr doesn't like to see the airwaves be used illegally and incorrectly and purposely horribly. Doesn't like to see a person that won the election in a landslide get 97% bad publicity before the election. I mean, it's amazing that I won the election with that, but here's what happened. The people have given your networks no credibility. They don't give them any credibility, John. If they did, they wouldn't vote for me. They wouldn't have voted for me. When you look at, I mean, you could also say the liberal media, the liberal left, when you look at these stories and papers, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about, I assume you're talking mostly about the networks, but they have a licensing procedure, and you can read it as well. They have to show honesty and integrity. And when they take a good, well, I think the people decide. That's why I'm president. When they take a great success, like you often do, and you make it into like it's a loser, or you put a negative spin on it, I don't think that's right. So I think Brendan Carr is a great American patriot. So I disagree with Ted Cruz on that. I'll be at the UN, I'll be making a speech, yes.
And are you meeting any other world leaders?
Many of them. Well, I'm meeting many of them. They're being set up.
What is your goal from attending that meeting? What do you
World peace. Nobody's done a better job than I've done in world peace. Nobody's settled so many wars as I have. You know, I've been here probably a little bit more than 8 months, and I've settled 7, and that doesn't include the destruction of a vast potential nuclear disaster in Iran, which we wiped out totally, as I say, obliterated. We obliterated it. It's been turned right with this beautiful plane right here. We just ordered some more of them, by the way. The B-2 bomber. Just ordered some more, the more updated version. Not that we needed that. We just need the plane because it was so flawless. These pilots flew 37 hours flawlessly. Not an engine problem, not a screw, not a bolt came loose. It was an amazing, compare that to many years ago, Jimmy Carter, same country, with the helicopters and the problems and the prisoners and the hostages, and what a mess. You know, these planes flew 37 hours without a stop. They fueled up. We had 52 tankers fueling the planes along the way. It was an incredible, and every single bomb hit its mark. And then we fired 30 of them from a submarine. What a job that was. And I don't even include that, but that stopped a war. That stopped maybe a catastrophic war. So, you know, so I think that nobody has ever done anywhere near that. Now, on top of that, We're working very hard to get Russia, Ukraine settled. We'll see what's gonna happen there. I hope we're gonna get it done. President Xi and I spoke to him about it, and I believe that he really would like to see it done also, and I think he's gonna work with us to help.
What was your message to President Xi on the war in Ukraine? What are you asking?
Well, it's the same as his message to me. He would like to see it done. He would like to see it, I believe he would like to see it ended, yes. I do believe.
This war that you were talking about, Gaza and Ukraine, are escalating at the same time. You're going to take this stage and you're going back to the stage after these years. Do you plan to setting any kind of red lines for these two countries that you said before?
Well, we're gonna see. Yeah. We have a long time to go before I get up and speak at the UN, because every day is a long time when it comes to Gaza, when it comes to Israel and the Middle East. So we have a long time to go, but you know a lot of my opinions, and remember this, you can't forget October 7th either. People are forgetting October 7th. They forget it too quickly. That was one of the worst days in world history. It was the most evil attack that I think you could really say babies were involved, little babies were involved, and having their heads chopped off and all of the things that took place. You can't forget that. I don't forget that. A lot of people do, but I don't. Yeah, please. Go ahead, please.
President, what kind of things are you taking, Bagram? Does that require boots on the ground?
We'll see what happens with Bagram. We're talking to Afghanistan. It should have never been given up. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. There's no reason to give it up. I was leaving Afghanistan. I was leaving. I was the one that got it down to 5,000 soldiers, but we were going to keep Bagram, the air base. I said it yesterday, and we had an incredible trip, as you know, to UK, and I said it during the press conference. It's one of the most powerful runways ever built in terms of weight, length, and load, what it can take, and we just gave it up for nothing. We gave it up for nothing. There was no reason to give it up. We weren't going to leave Bagram. And Joe Biden didn't know what he was doing. We had a man that didn't know what he was doing. We had a man, by the way, that didn't approve. If you take a look at what's happening in Congress, we had a man that signed almost everything with an auto pen. And he didn't tell the people from the auto pen, whoever was using it. The one man that used it predominantly said that Biden only spoke to him twice, and it was only about the weather. Okay, it was about nothing. So those pardons that he gave are illegal. He gave illegal pardons. And that includes the congressman that destroyed and deleted all the information from J6. They deleted everything because it turned out that they were wrong. It turned out that I offered 10,000 National Guard or soldiers, whatever they wanted, then you wouldn't have had a problem. And they turned it down. Nancy Pelosi turned it down, and the mayor of Washington, D.C. turned it down. They deleted everything, and they destroyed it, illegally destroyed it. And Biden gave them a pardon. And Biden gave a lot of other people pardons that, frankly, would be in jail if it wasn't for those pardons. But those pardons now are illegal, according to just about everybody.
On Letitia James, are you disappointed that the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia has not prosecuted Letitia James? Do you intend to fire him?
Well, we're going to see what happens. I am not following it very closely. It looks to me like she's very guilty of something, but I really don't know. I know that the U.S. Attorney from the Eastern District, or from that district in Virginia, that he was approved by 2 Democrat senators who, in my opinion, are among the worst. And when I learned that 2 senators, Democrats, because as you know, it's very hard with the blue slip, it's very hard for a Republican to get somebody approved if you have 1 senator that's a Democrat, because of an old custom. It's not a law, it's a custom. It's a ridiculous custom. But if you have a Democrat senator, you have to get that senator approved. Well, in this case, we had 2. When I saw that he got 2 senators, 2 gentlemen that are bad news as far as I'm concerned, when I saw that he got approved by those 2 men, I said, pull it, because he can't be any good.
So you want him fired, you want him out?
Yeah, I want him out, yeah. When I learned that he was blue slipped through by 2 Democrat senators in Virginia, people that would never vote for it, the people that haven't voted for us for probably years, okay, probably years. In my opinion, 2 bad guys. You know, they are Water and Kane. Two bad guys, bad senators too, and they do a terrible job for the people of Virginia. But when I saw that he got approved by these two terrible people that haven't voted, they just don't vote, no matter what it is, we could give them the greatest deal ever, and they still wouldn't vote. And they voted for this guy. And I have other people, judges, and I have U.S. attorneys from other states where I have the same situation, and they can't get approved. So when I learned that they voted for him, I said, I don't really want him. Okay.
Do you want to?
No, behind you, please.
Have you seen the polling, the Gallup poll out of Ukraine that shows 23%, less than a quarter of Ukrainians actually support continuing the war against Putin? We saw the European leaders come here and try to say the world is united for the war effort, but Ukrainians have war fatigue themselves.
Oh, I don't blame them.
Your thoughts on it?
I don't blame them. It's a war that never should have started. It's a war that never would have happened. If I were president, that war never would have happened, ever. That's a disgrace that that war happened. And they're losing anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 people a week on that war, which is the worst since the Second World War. That's a war that should have never happened.
And if you consider,
Would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. When I was here, it didn't happen. Go ahead.
have you considered cutting funding, even promises made by the Biden administration?
Well, we're not spending any money on the war. You know, we're being paid for everything we said. Unlike Biden, he gave him $350 billion. And it was shocking. We're not spending any money on the war. The war is being funded by NATO. NATO is buying our equipment. In fact, I don't want to make money on that war. I don't want to, but we are actually making money on that war because they're buying our equipment, as you know. But NATO, as you know, it's very important, is funding the entire thing. They're paying for the missiles, for the tanks. They're paying for anything that's sent over there. It goes to NATO. And then NATO does what they want with it. In this case, I guess they give it to Ukraine. It's a very sad war. It's a war that never should have happened.
Mr.
Go ahead, please.
TikTok, could you tell me, is the US government going to take a board seat in the company, and will the US government
A what?
a board seat within the company?
Well, we're going to announce it. Are you talking about TikTok? Yeah, we're going to announce it. But it's a great deal for our country. It's a great deal for all of the young people in the country that wanted it, and people generally. I was happy with it. Look, I wasn't a fan of TikTok, and then I got to use it, and I became a fan, and it helped me win the election in a landslide. So I think that it's a deal that's going to be great. And it's also controlled by very powerful and very substantial American people. By the way, all American people. Yeah, please, behind. Go ahead, please.
Question from Newsmax. Last year, before you took office, there was an estimated 6.8 million men not actively seeking work of prime working age. So you and Secretary Lutnick could talk about the efforts your administration is taking to help our American gentlemen get back to work.
Yeah, well, what we're doing is they're building plants all over the United States, and frankly, because of tariffs, we're taking in trillions of dollars. And countries that have ripped us off for years, and everyone knows this, countries that have ripped us off for years, like nobody's ever been ripped off before, they're now having to pay up. They're paying a lot of money to America, and we're reducing taxes with that money, and we're doing things that we were never able to do before. So it's you're gonna have a lot of jobs. The jobs are being created right now, and the tariffs are protecting our country. And we didn't use, tariffs were used against us, but we didn't use them against others. But we're really better at it than anybody else, and we will have taken in trillions of dollars. Nobody's ever seen anything. Even people that were against the tariffs, now they see the way they work it. And by the way, with no inflation, with no problem, we're just building up cash, and we're using that cash to reduce taxes, reduce debt, and other things. It's a great thing to watch. And your honest reporters are saying they've never seen anything like what's happening. Our country is becoming very rich again only because of tariffs. If we didn't have it, if I didn't get elected, this country it was a dead country. Look, we were a dead country a year ago, and now we're the most successful, most vibrant country anywhere in the world. Oh, Sean? Nice to see you. You look good on television.
Thanks, sir.
Good.
Tonight, in a few minutes, Steve Bannon will appear on my show.
Good.
He floats the idea that you should dual hat Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, not only as Treasury Secretary, but as interim Fed Chair. Would you be willing to entertain that?
In other words, you like Scott.
Would
So do I. And I like Steve too. Okay.
you like to see that?
Well, it's certainly an interesting tool. We could save a little bit of salary. I think I could maybe make a deal where we just give them one salary. You know, I have a couple of them.
I don't think you need.
I have Marco, no, I don't think so. And we have Marco's got about 3 positions, right? He's doing great also. No, I don't think that's gonna be necessary. Actually, I went to Scott and I talked to him about that position, and he loves what he's doing right now. So, you know, he's not in the mix because he loves being Secretary of the Treasury.
Quick follow-up. Today is the first day of early voting in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Are you planning on campaigning for Winsome Sears, John Reed, or Jason Mayaris?
Well, I'm gonna have to look at some of them. As you know, it's sort of a semi-local election. I've been watching it, I've been seeing the ads.
I would appreciate it as a Virginia voter.
Who do you like of the group? Who do you
The
like?
whole thing.
All of them? You like them? All right,
Yes, sir.
well, I'll take a very strong look. Okay, for you, I'm gonna look.
Secretary Kennedy's panel on vaccines
Yeah.
changed its broad recommendations of COVID-19 vaccines today. Are you comfortable with that change, or would you like to see Americans take the vaccines that were developed under your tenure?
Yeah. Well, the vaccines, according to a lot of people, and if you look at George, have had a tremendous, Operation Warp Speed. It was, just according to just about everybody, was one of the greatest things that any president has ever done in this country. So we're very proud of it. I'm very proud of it. I'm also very proud of Regeneron and some of the things that came out of, all of the labs and all of the research that we've done. So I don't know exactly what the final determination is, but I had the vaccine. I was very happy with it. Here I am, right? Here I am.
Bobby Kennedy seems to be undoing what you did.
No, I put him in there because I want to have opposite views. That's okay. I think we're going to have something very, very big coming up soon on autism. Autism is totally out of control. And one of the most important things that, in my opinion, I had to do is to see what's going on with autism. And we're going to have a news conference early next week on autism. And I think you're going to see some things that are amazing that we've learned that somebody else wouldn't have learned. It's out of control, autism, out of control. And I think we maybe have the reason why.
But is Bobby Kennedy going too far and unwinding?
Well, I don't know. He's saying for older people. Yeah, he's saying for older people. A lot of people agree with that. And but I can tell you this: Operation Warp Speed, one of the greatest things a president has ever done for this country. And you can say the world, because when we came up with that vaccine, the whole world opened up. But I put Bobby there as somebody that will go either way. And I want the facts, but I also look at facts from Pfizer, where they spent a lot of money, and the other drug companies, they spent a lot of money on finding out the results after the fact, and the results were amazingly good. Yeah, please.
I'm wondering if you've seen the video put out by former Israeli hostages addressed to you. One is a widow of one that died, and these are people who were freed thanks to you. But they're actually encouraging you to force a ceasefire, force Netanyahu to ceasefire. And they didn't address it to him because they think you're the one who might actually listen to them and get it done. They're worried that the hostages who are still there are more at risk if the war continues.
Well, they might be. They also, maybe they'll be freed because of that. You never know how it's going to look. War, I was saying, is war, a lot of strange things happen. A lot of results take place that you would never think were going to happen. As you know, I was able to get most of the hostages out. We're down to 20, and we have 32 dead people. You know that. We have 32, maybe more, 38, but between 32 and 38 people that were dead, mostly young people. And I dealt with some of the parents, and we got all our Americans out, as you know, and now we're talking about mostly Israelis. But I dealt with parents, I spoke to parents, and they want the body of their son, I believe in almost all cases sons, but they want the body of their cherished, beautiful son. They want the body back as much as though he were alive. It's so sad to see. But I've dealt with the mothers and fathers. Please, sir, please, the body of my son, they know he's dead. And They just want him back. They want him back as much as though he's alive. I mean, it's very terrible. And, you know, we have very close to 40 bodies that are included in the whole thing. But we have 20, probably 20 that are living. It might be a little bit less because a couple of things. Look, young people don't die, okay? They just don't die. And they can take a lot, but a lot of people have died in these horrible tunnels. They're mostly in the tunnels. I know a lot about it. I got them out. But I always said the last 20, when you get down to the last 10 or 20, it's going to be very tough. It's a nasty situation. You can't forget October 7th, but it's a nasty situation, terrible. It's a terrible
On
thing.
Gaza, the UN concluded this week that Israel committed genocide in Gaza. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I haven't seen that. I'm looking at it, but did anybody commit genocide on October 7th? What do you think about that? That was genocide at the highest level. That was murder, genocide, you can call it whatever you want. But little babies were chopped in half. Arms were cut off people, heads were cut off people. That's genocide. That's genocide also, I guess,
What
right?
do you think?
President, TikTok, you referred to getting a fee from that deal. What is that fee?
Well, it hasn't been fully negotiated, but we'll get something from the standpoint that we worked hard, we put up a lot, we spent a lot of money on letting this come and letting this, it's a very, very big deal. It's a very powerful deal. And the United States really, I see it. I mean, people were saying, save TikTok, save TikTok. So many people. It's a big thing. And, China could be very proud that they were able to get that started. And so I very much appreciate President Xi's working with us on that, very much.
What comes next after designating Antifa?
Well, we have others that we're gonna designate too, but we're gonna look at the people that funded Antifa, see who they are, where they came from, and why they did. Have you seen Portland at all? If you take a look what's happening in Portland, it's, this has been going on for years. It's just people out of control, and crazy. We're gonna stop that very soon. We have to get rid of a couple of other problems first. We're gonna get rid of the problems in Memphis where you can't even walk a block without getting shot. We're gonna get rid of the problems in Chicago. Chicago's a great city and we have to save it. We have to save it. I told you I had the head of the Union Pacific Railroad in my office and I said, so what do you think? You go to every city, you have railroads in you are the biggest railroad, beautiful railroad, he's a great guy. I said, what do you think? He said, sir, save Chicago. Don't let it go down. Save it. The way he said it was so meaningful to me. It was so it was like terrible. In a way, it was terrible. Save Chicago. Who would ever think that we'd be sitting here talking about saving Chicago? Chicago's a great city. They have a terrible mayor. Terrible. He's at like 5% approval rating. He's an incompetent person. They have an incompetent governor, in my opinion. He's incompetent. 11 people get shot. He says crime isn't a good shot. I mean, they're losing 4, 5, 6 people a week, getting killed by bullets, by knives. And then he says how wonderful it is, Chicago. So, well, it might be wonderful for him. I think they're afraid. Look, he's not a stupid guy. I really believe they're afraid to say, politically, I guess, from an ideology standpoint, from a democratic standpoint, he is afraid to say the fact that they have a very unsafe, very dangerous city. He should say, I'm going to call President Donald Trump and I'm going to ask him to send in the troops, to send in the National Guard and clean this hellhole up. Because Chicago can be a great city again. I'll tell you what, Washington, D.C. is a great place again. It's booming. And the restaurants are booming. And 6 months ago, 7 months ago, nobody could go outside. And even just walking around the White House, people here are thanking me for what I've done. They're thanking me, they're saying thank you. And I almost know what they mean, because they can walk to work. And even when they took Uber and they took other forms of transportation, they felt unsafe because the car was hijacked while they're in there. They take a car and it's being hijacked as they get into the car. and they did that for safety. And now we have a safe place. You know, we've taken 1,500 people out of, career criminals have been taken out of Washington, D.C. And we weren't very nice about it. And you
What do you think of that rail merger? Did you discuss it with the Union Pacific?
I did discuss it, and I don't want to make a comment on it, but Union Pacific is a great railroad, and they want to add a railroad that had a mistake at a place very close to my heart. You know, a lot of people say that that was the place where I got off to a very good start. It was a rough thing that happened. Well, they're trying to buy that railroad that had the problem, and it sounds good to me, to be honest with you. It sounds good to me. I'm a very big fan of the head of the railroad, the head of the Union Pacific. He started as a very low on the totem pole, started his job very low and became the chairman of the company over a 45-year period. But I asked him about different cities. He said, St. Louis is tough. He sort of stops at many of them. New Orleans. We have to save New Orleans.
Mr. President, what are you going to get?
We're going to be going into New York too. Yeah.
Mr. President.
And we're going to be going in quiet. You're really obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I'm trying to ask you, what about your plans?
You are
for
really
Memphis?
obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but
Okay.
I am asking, what are your
Okay.
plans for Memphis? Many people.
I'm not going to talk to you until I call on you.
What are your plans for
So,
Memphis?
who else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to settle this free speech question, because you said that you restored free speech in America.
Yeah.
Is that free speech including for people who are harshly critical of you, for your political opponents, for people who say things you don't like?
I've become immune
treat
to it.
you unfairly?
I've become immune to it. There's never been a person that's had more unfair publicity than me, and that's why your network paid me $15 million, or $16 million, I believe, to be exact, George Slopadopoulos. And that's why CBS paid me a lot of money too. And that's why I sued the New York Times 2 days ago for a lot of money. Because I'm winning. I mean, I'm winning the cases. And the reason I'm winning is because you're guilty, John. You're guilty. ABC is a terrible network, a very unfair network, and you should be ashamed of yourself. NBC is equally bad. I don't know who's worse. I think they're equally bad. And, you know, for you to stand there and act so innocent and ask me a question like that. But look, you paid a big price because you were dishonest, John. The reason I won that lawsuit was because you were dishonest. You were proven to be dishonest. And so you can't sit back and just say, oh, well, what do you think? You know, like you're some wonderful person. You're not a wonderful person. Frankly, you're a terrible reporter. You know it, and so do I. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about something that's going to reduce our taxes greatly. That's going to hopefully bring some great people into our country. You know, as you know, right now nobody's coming in because we've succeeded in closing. We've closed the border very successfully. I think you will agree. We had nobody come in for the last few months. I mean, it was actually said zero. Even I can't believe zero, but the numbers are put out by very impartial people or people that have a tendency to be on the left. And they actually said for the last 3 months, nobody came in. We have a very strong border. It's a closed border. People are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. It's a beautiful thing to watch. But we are doing something where rather than coming into the border, 25 million people came into our country during Biden. One of the saddest things, the worst thing, look, he was horrible in inflation. He was horrible in just about everything you could be. I don't think he was good on. He wasn't even fair on anything. It was a horrible administration. He was the worst president in the history of our country, and we have to mop it up. The hardest thing that we have to do is to get rid of the criminals that he allowed into our country from prisons, from mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers. And we're getting them out, and we're getting them out fast, and we're making America safe again. Great again, but we're making America safe again. And it's an honor to do it. But this is an unforced error. What they've done is, this is just an unforced error. So I'm going to ask Howard to speak. Howard's done a fantastic job, as you know, Secretary of Commerce. And I'm going to ask Howard and Will, could you just give a quick description of what we're doing? And what we're signing, et cetera, and
Yes, sir.
I will do that. Go ahead.
We have two items for your attention today, sir. A major focus of your administration has been shifting the conversation and shifting the policy dynamics around the issue of immigration, closing the border, preventing illegal immigration, but also, as is the case with the executive order in front of you, opening new pathways for truly extraordinary people to come contribute to America instead of taking away from it. So this executive order is entitled the Gold Card. It will set up a new pathway, a new visa pathway for foreigners of extraordinary ability who are committed to supporting the United States for a payment of $1 million to the U.S. Treasury, or if a corporation is sponsoring them, $2 million by that corporation. And that will give them access to expedited visa treatment as part of this new Gold Card program.
And one of the biggest problems we have is that people, they go to the best schools and they do great and they get great marks, and then they're thrown out of the country. You're not allowed to stay. This way, a corporation will be able, sort of like a signing bonus in baseball or football, a corporation will be able to get them to stay in the country. And I think it's going to be tremendously successful. Howard, would you say a few words about it, please?
Sure. So historically, the employment-based green card program let in 281,000 people a year. And those people, on average, earned $66,000 a year on average, and they were 5 times more likely to go on assistance programs of the government. So we were taking in the bottom quartile, below the average American. It was illogical. The only country in the world that was taking in the bottom quartile. So what we are doing now is we are going to stop doing that. We're going to only take extraordinary people at the very top. Instead of people trying to take the jobs from Americans, they're going to create businesses and create jobs for Americans. And this program will raise more than $100 billion for the Treasury of the United States of America.
Which we'll use for cutting taxes and paying down debt. And we think it's going to be very successful. Essentially, we're having people come in, people that in many cases, I guess, are very successful or whatever, and they're coming in, they're going to spend a lot of money to come in, they're going to pay as opposed to walking over the borders, and they may come from jails, prisons, and everything else. These people don't. They're very productive people. And they're going to pay $1 million. The corporation's going to pay $2 million. And it's going to raise billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars, which is going to go to reduce taxes, pay off debt, and other good things. So I think it's going to be very successful. What?
Are the big tax on board with the decision?
I wish you'd speak more clearly, I really do. Give it to me again.
Are the big tax, the CEOs on board with this decision?
Big tax?
Tech companies. Big tech companies.
Yeah, big tech. Yeah, it's big tech. It's every company. It's big tech. It's big tech. It's big everything. Okay? It's a company. I said it's not a tech company. It's tech companies and everything else. It's companies having a hard time getting people to be able to stay in the country. It's very difficult. Now, if you want to walk through the border, you can have no problem. People say, well, the best way to come in is walk right through the border, but they can't do that anymore because under our administration, the border is totally closed. You can only come in, you can come in legally, and that's the way it's been, and that's the way it should be. And we're taking a lot of people out of the country that are here from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, and even insane asylums, people that are crazy. We're taking them out of the country. We're getting them out of the country because you can't have a country like that. And I tell you, Christie and Tom Holman and all of the people that have worked so hard on this, they've done an unbelievable job. And I think we're getting great marks for it. People feel safe. Washington, D.C. is just the beginning. We brought the numbers down in Chicago a little bit by having the FBI in there for the last 5 months. We brought the numbers down in Memphis a little bit, but now we're going for the big one. Now we're going to go for the big one. But we set ourselves up very well in Chicago, Memphis, New Orleans a little bit, going in early just to see what was happening. We study it. We're studying the site. It's sort of like war. I mean, I hate to tell you, it's like war. Some of these people are really bad. They're really, really sick people. They're dangerous people. They're killers. They're murderers, drug dealers, and can't have it. And you can't have a country like that. It's so beautiful to see at Washington DC that people are walking down the middle of the street and they're going to restaurants, and you are too. And half of you were mugged. I mean, I don't know if she's here now. I don't see her, but you know, some people were badly mugged. There were reporters. Two of the people right standing in the back of the room were mugged, and not going to have that anymore. And if you look at the crime stats in Washington D.C., you have a safe place again. They were afraid to go to a restaurant because the restaurant would be held up while they're having dinner. And so they'd be mugged going there, and assuming they escaped the mugging, they go to the restaurant and then they're held up. This is how bad it's been. Yep.
Follow up on the visa question, I think this may be the next thing that you're signing, but for the H-1B visa, actually.
Yeah, that's going to be next. We'll talk about that.
You're very close to the technology
Yeah.
CEOs, are they concerned about that?
I think they're going to be very happy. Everyone's going to be happy. And we're going to be able to keep people in our country that are going to be very productive people. And in many cases, these companies are going to pay a lot of money for that. And they're very happy about it. Okay, we'll talk about that next, all right? Okay. My friend, why don't you keep that, okay?
Thank you.
You did such a good job. Okay? It's phase one. John, are you happy? Good. Okay, let's go.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most abused visa systems in our current immigration system has been the H-1B non-immigrant visa program. This is supposed to allow highly skilled laborers who work in fields that Americans don't work in to come into the United States of America. What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H-1B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that the people they're bringing in are actually very highly skilled and that they're not replaceable by American workers. So it'll protect American workers, but ensure that companies have a pathway to hire truly extraordinary people and bring them to the United States.
We
to
need
work.
workers. We need workers. We need great workers. And this pretty much ensures that that's what's going to happen. I think, Sean, you agree with that?
Well, they're $100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. They love it. They really love it. They need it. Go ahead, Chuck.
Mr. President, it seems like there's two categories of visa programs. The H-1B, a lot of people believe take American jobs, and then the gold card and programs like EB-5 that add value and jobs to America. Is that sort of how you look at the visa program?
Well, ideally, look, if somebody's got the people, they're not going to want to spend $100,000 as an example in the second category. So it's not taking jobs. And we need certain jobs. We need certain skill jobs that we don't have. But they won't be taking jobs because, you know, ideally the people aren't going to want to, they're not going to have. Right, that's right.
So that's what I'm asking.
They're really investing.
It's like you have two categories. One, the Secretary of Elections, the gold card and EB-5 that create jobs and investment, and there's other ones that seem to take, you know, whether it's a J1 and O or an H-1B that take U.S. jobs.
Yeah, it's pretty correct. I would say that's a correct assessment. But the main thing is we're going to have great people coming in, and they're going to be paying. I mean, it's wonderful to say, oh, gee, we took in 25 million people that, look, many criminals, jails were opened from Venezuela, from many other countries, and they were let out of jail and poured into our country. Our poor country, how it suffered with this stupid president that we had and the stupid people that surrounded him right around this desk, these liberal, crazy people that have destroyed, they could have destroyed, if we didn't win this election, our country would have been dead. Our country was dead. Think of it, and I've said this, man, the king of Saudi Arabia said, your country was dead 1 year, they thought it was dead. This country couldn't have survived another year, those people running it. And now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, think of that. And this is going to help. And we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. This will be taken in the gold card, we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And companies will be able to keep some people that they need. You know, they need people of expertise, great expertise. And I think it's going to be a fantastic thing. And we're going to take that money and we're going to reduce taxes. We're going to reduce debt. We have a very, very strong country. Assuming everything works out great with the lawsuit that we have a lawsuit that's inspired by foreign countries that ripped us off for 25 years. But assuming we win that, we hopefully win this in the Supreme Court of the United States. We have a country that no stopping us. We're rich, we'll be rich, we can take care of poor people, we can take care of our military, we can take care of everything. We can take care of beyond the country, we can help take care of the world. That we don't, it would just be the same struggle that we've had for years where other countries charged us tariffs and they ripped us off. Our country has been ripped off more than any country in the history of the world. And now we're doing what we have to do. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars at levels that nobody has ever seen, trillions of dollars. And we're using it to reduce debt, we're using it to reduce taxes. The great big beautiful bill is a big tax reduction. It's being paid for by the tariffs, and people are paying a lot less money in taxes. They're being, think of it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's an unbelievable phenomenon. It really is. It's the golden age. We're making it the golden age. Without the tariffs, it would be impossible. And China, for years, charged us tariffs, and they continue to do it, and so do other countries. Most countries, they charge us. They were ripping. Look, the European Union, as you know, I get along very well with them, but they ripped us off so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything. Now, the European Union is paying us $950 billion, and they're paying us $750 billion to buy our energy, and they're okay with it. They signed the agreement. You know, it's not like anybody forced them to do it. They're okay with it. Tariffs are making our country very rich again, and we'll be able to take care of our debt. We'll be able to take care of our taxes, lower taxes. We'll be able to take care of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We're going to be a rich country again. Without tariffs, we'd be in very big trouble.
H-1Bs are sometimes used by people already in the country legally. On other visas or student visas, does this apply to them or to renewals, or does it only apply to people applying for the first time from abroad?
Renewals, first times, the company needs to decide, is that person valuable enough to have $100,000 a year payment to the government, or they should head home and they should go hire an American. The whole idea, it's annual, and it's for total, it can be a total of 6 years. So $100,000 a year, so either the person is very valuable to the company and America, or they're going to depart and the company's going to hire an American, and that's the point of immigration. Hire Americans and make sure the people coming in are the top people. Stop the nonsense of letting people just come into this country on these visas that were given away for free. President is crystal clear. Valuable people only for America. Stop the nonsense.
And remember, the country,
fee to America.
The country would rather not have to pay $100,000, but if they'd rather, how do you do that? You hire Americans. So there's an incentive to hire American. But there may be instances where it's better off doing it through expertise or whatever it may be. But they're both unbelievable, whether it's a gold card or anything else that we talked about today. And that includes talking about freedom of speech, because our country has been decimated by bad people, very bad people, people that love crime. They love crime. Explain it to me. They don't want to have our military go in and save lives. But when you go and ask the people, do you mind having the National Guard come in if it meant safety? They look at the question like, what's wrong? What kind of a stupid question is that? Of course they do. We're going to have a safe country again. We're not going to have people shot, 11 people shot. Think of it. In Chicago, over a period of 6 or 7 weeks, 55 people were murdered. And then you have a governor saying how wonderful it is. It's not wonderful. It's very unsafe. There's not a place in the world. You go outside, you go to Afghanistan, you go to different places all over the world that you hear about. It's 20% of what's happening in places like Chicago. And you think of them as unsafe. Mexico City, it's a tough place, dangerous place. The crime rate is lower. Think of it. What's happening to our country? We're not going to let it happen. And I think I got elected largely for that reason. So we're going to have a safe country again. We're going to have a great country again. We're doing unbelievably. We have the highest stock market in history. We have the most investment we've ever had, ever, as a country coming in. And we're very simple. You know, they said, how'd you get elected? I got elected because I'm going to make America great again. That's what we're doing. We're making America great again. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you right here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was some press conference. I did notice Trump. To me, he looks really worn out. He doesn't look as well, and I believe that's from traveling all over the world. And he just came back from England, and just perhaps a time difference. It looks like at this point that he needs a vacation. Every day doing news conferences, every day speaking to the American people for long periods of time. I think it's overwhelming. And then he's 79 years old. And I don't know how he does it, but to me, it's showing. I didn't think that he looked as well. And it's like he needs someone to tell him, maybe perhaps his wife, when he needs to step back and to take care of himself. And I did notice he is covering his hands because the type of man that he is, he's going to give that man handshake. He's going to grip the person up. His handshakes are different. He grips them up and he pulls them in because he likes to show strength. So I don't know. I think that he needs to take a break. Take a break because he's trying to flood the news for the day or for the week. Like he continually, he's flooding the news, media. He's controlling it. It's all about him, but it's about different issues. And some of the issues aren't about what people want to talk about. People want to hear about those Epstein files. And I think that he wants to flood the newsrooms with other stories, like even with Charlie Kirk, what tragically happened to him. Like he just mentioned him over and over and over again through this news conference. But I think that at this point, he needs to take care of himself and stop worrying about flooding news media room with, trying to control the narrative when people are always going to go back to what they want him to talk about. And the things he wants to talk about is not necessarily what American people are saying, because if you just look at what's going on, just from ABC or whatever, removing Jimmy Kimmel, you even have Megyn Kelly and what's his name, Tucker Carlson, all of them, they are upset about it. Morning Joe's upset about it, but they're Democrats, but they've been kind of leaning a little bit more with President Trump on certain issues. But anytime you got Megyn Kelly, she's even like, okay, this thing about freedom of speech is going too far, because it's like this administration is shutting down whatever you say. And it's like, this is like going too far, even for Megyn Kelly, which is a total supporter of Donald Trump. And so is Tucker Carlson, all of these people. So I think that we need to be looking at it, because this is what America prides ourselves in, is that this is a country that you do have freedom of speech, that you can agree to disagree. Like people in the chat, half the people agree with half of the people. Everybody in this chat and on this stream absolutely do not agree with one another. Those are facts. Nobody agrees with everyone. And I say that every one of our chats. No one, you don't agree with your husband 100% of the time, wife, your children, your boss, your neighbor, no one. And so you're going to have people that have difference of opinions. But I think that what's going on is that when you're trying to muzzle and have your own narrative, and if people say something, that they're losing their jobs, they're being put out of the military, they're being put out of college, and like all of they're losing their television shows. it's like, I don't know, where is the freedom of speech? And Pam Bondi, Megan Kelly was saying that how she's gonna make a difference. She's talking about hate speech and freedom of speech and like trying to divide it, and like people getting lost in the sauce. Because as far as I had noticed, when George Floyd lost his life, there were many people that were imitating with the knee on the neck and all of that with him losing his life. There were many people that were imitating what happened to him and the things that were said about George Floyd. When Trayvon Martin was killed, there were many people that had the Skittles on the ground or whatever, and they were saying there was a lot of things were going on. So I don't like now, but that was freedom of speech. I didn't agree with it because no one should rejoice off of the death of anyone. No one should. Because just like Charlie Kirk's wife, like what she's going through, those families went through the same pain and the same agony. And God doesn't put anyone above another person. God doesn't go by what your title is here on earth. He loves us all the same. He's no respecter of person. So you might have a title here and think that you're somebody, but in heaven, you're on the same playing field as if you make it to heaven as everyone else. So all lives are valuable. So, but now we're getting to the point like everybody wasn't in agreement with this, with Charlie Kirk. He attacked the Black community. He made a living and money off of putting the Black community down, and like that the white community were now the victims of affirmative action and all of that. He flipped the script and he did it really well. But that's what he did, but he didn't deserve to die. He didn't deserve to what happened to him, but it wasn't done by a Black person. It was done by the very people that he thought that he was fighting for. So it was his own that did that to him. It was a white man. Tyler Robinson did it. He's the one that pulled the trigger, not they. That one person decided to do that. It wasn't the left, the Democrats, the right, because that young man was MAGA. He was a Republican, and so is his family. But we flip scripts, and that's what we do. And nobody wants to believe the narrative, but I'm glad it wasn't a Black person, because if it was a Black person, people are just itching for the United States to implode more than it has, and that we fight each other. When we have bigger threats like Russia and China outside of this country, they looking to take over. While we trying to fight each other, and we're dispatching the military into urban areas, and we want to focus and keep parading like Black people are a threat to America. Black people are the least threats to America. We have been through so much in this country that we are the least threatening. We have not done what has been done to us by no means. By no means have we done what has been done to us as a community, but we still stand because we're resilient. So it's just crazy how a script can be flipped by a person to discredit a whole nation of people that were enslaved and that were horribly treated, and continue to be mistreated. That we still have to fight for rights, just to be ourselves, just to live. And I notice in his news conference, he continues to point out Chicago. The people in Chicago were complaining about that when Biden, the left, opened up those borders, they dumped all these illegal immigrants into Black neighborhoods, Black taxpayer dollars, while they wouldn't pump anything into those areas. They got in the shootings and stuff, but that's not what the Democrats even wanted to do. They don't care if Blacks are killing Blacks. They want to highlight that because, they're violent, they're this. That's a lie from hell. The 99% of Black people are middle class, upper middle class, multimillionaires, billionaires. We're well-to-do. But they keep showing you a snippet of people that have been put in environmental situations and they're not receiving the resources, even though we pumped $2 billion, say like in Chicago. They gave Black people taxpayer money to the illegal immigrants. They took care of them, but and Trump pulled back funding from Chicago that for to help the children that are there. He pulled back $836 million of resources to areas that need policing, to areas that need these programs, to areas that need those jobs that he keeps talking about. You only have crime when there's no opportunity. So we can change the environment, but that's not the objective. The objective is to point at a black person, we're a threat, but you don't see him talking about what Tyler Robinson did. The actual person that allegedly pulled the trigger on Charlie Kirk. How do you complete Utah, mostly white state, white college, audience white, and Tyler Robinson, not a black person, not anyone else, was the one that pulled the trigger. But he doesn't acknowledge. But when the young man was beating up, former Doge member from Elon's Doge employee, who, he's, for some reason, Elon got this tied on or control over Trump. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know if it's true, but he felt like he had to get the National Guards, and that one guy had gotten beaten up. But you don't need the National Guards when people are actually being murdered. Just like that Democratic Congresswoman. Her and her husband was murdered. And there was no lowering of the flags, no National Guards. They were murdered. They were taken out, not by black people. And, it just like the school shooter. Kids are praying. No conversation, no National Guards, not showing those thugs. They're thugs and criminals, but they're downplayed. They don't even mention their name. It's swept under the rug. Even the news don't talk about it. It's so crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. These people are murdering, killing children, mass murderers, and they don't talk about it. They don't talk about the people's names. They don't call them violent thugs a threat. The ones that supposed to not be a threat are the threats. We're the decoy. We're not the threat. They're the threats. And you're going to shoot up those children, no mention. CDC officer, another massive white man. All these are white people. No mention. No National Guards. No threat. Talking about I want to get rid of crime. But these people are actually taking people out. Cop shot 15 times. Guy shot him. This is a few days ago. I'm going to put it all up. I'm going to do a lot behind this. Shot in the head 10 times. In the head. Officer. Shot in the head 10 times. Shot at 15 times. Where's the news? Where's the breaking news? These are police officers. If that was a black person, it would be, this country's ready to implode. Let a black person that did that to a white cop or something like that. People want, to have a reason to shoot at black people or anybody else. If we had done something like that, it would have imploded. And that's not right. That cop shot in the head, shot 15 times. No mention by the president at all. No mention at all. In York, Pennsylvania. I was waiting for the breaking news. It's been taking 2 days. I've been watching. I haven't been on, but I've been following it. White guy. Same as usual. White guy. They just released his picture they didn't even release it. People have been finding it. 24 years old. He killed 3 officers, shot at 5, 2 are critically wounded. I don't even know if any of them had died as of yet, the other 2. But he killed 3 officers, shot at 5, he ambushed them. 24 years old. You know when they did the news conference? They told me they didn't want to mention his name. We don't want to mention his name. They called him an actor. Every time they mentioned him, they were saying an actor. Now, if that was black, they would have said a violent thug, criminal. They would have showed his record. These people that I'm talking about have records. They would have showed the records. They should have been locked up a long time ago. All of this. Shot at cops. 3 cops killed 3 cops. 2 critically wounded. 5 altogether. Where's the breaking news? I didn't even see it on Fox News. I don't know if they had to talk about it by now. But this was just in Pennsylvania. Where's the coverage that Trump keeps focused on Chicago when 13 red states have more crime, have a higher crime rate than Chicago? And what those people were fighting for were resources that were not being given to the black communities. Every time the black community said, well, what about our schools? What about all the things that were promised to us? Then they were like, there's no money for you. There's no money for you. That's how they did it. We have no money for the money. They took the money from the black community, but they're going to tell the black community that there's no money for you. You know, those are the things. That's why I question what's going on. But every day, like, you want to highlight the black community, but that paints a picture on all of us, all black people. They don't differentiate when it's someone that's going to college or someone that owns a business and someone that is a productive citizen. There's no differentiation. That label is put on all black people when you have the president calling black people a thug, and that's wrong, but you don't call the white people that's doing the most heinous crimes thugs or criminals or violent, and you don't talk about sending the National Guard for them because you're only interested in locking up black men. But Biden already did that with the 1994 crime bill. People are not safer. So the only people that are safe in Washington now are white people. That is, you just want white people at your restaurants. If you see a black person, then they're labeled a criminal, and that could be a senator, that could be a business owner, that could be someone, an inventor, or architect, an electrician. You don't want. So if you see a black person in a restaurant, that's a threat. So we need to keep our black money in our black pockets, and we need to have black people united. Just keep our money, have our own. Like they used to have Black Wall Street, do another Black Wall Street if the money is not wanted. But we can't allow to paint a picture of Americans that helped put President Trump into office. And I feel like what I'm concerned about is that he's going to lose moving forward. Going to lose the black vote. Those black men that voted, over 2 million black men voted for Trump, he lost that. That's gone. That's gone. Because you can't focus on black people saying Chicago, that's the only place you can keep people. They're violent, but you're not going to acknowledge all these cop killings. These are cop killings. How do you call them an actor, but black people that are beating up each other, you call them violent thugs? And the people you're arresting in Washington, a lot of those people are misdemeanors. You're just trying to arrest people because they're black. They're not, all those people arrested, not murderers and rapists. You want to lower it like Biden did, and how what President Clinton put into law. You want to lower the age so you can lock up our babies for their lifetimes, for minor incidences. That's what he did. Lock them up now so that in the future, they won't commit anything in the future. How can you say that? You're going to give them 30 years for nothing? Because you say you're preventing something in the future? What kind of bull when you got teenage white kids out here mass murdering people? Make it make sense. You got to make it in 2025. You can't tell us anything because it's social media now. You can't just say anything to people because we get news all over. So many news sources. So you can't cover up stuff like they used to could cover up stuff. Everybody is seeing what's going on. Nothing is hidden under the sun. The truth is going to manifest. But my contingency is don't just focus on one group of people. Focus on all of us. Stop trying to lock up black people. Like when black populations start coming out, okay, let's lock black men up, sterilize them, federal prison, stop the population from making babies, stop them from being productive, and stop them from doing what God created them to do because we all have a purpose. They're trying to stop purpose by labeling black people. The same opportunities are not given to different cultures, especially black people. You have to be an overachiever to get these jobs. And they trying to act like things are handed to you. No, it's not done like that in the real world. In the real world, you're not going to be promoted by your counterpart. That's the real world. That's how affirmative action happened, because it wasn't being done fairly. But it's okay. God is still in control. And hopefully, we will be one nation under God. But the truth is what it is, whether we like it or not. But my thing, don't keep doing news conferences and focus on black people, but you're not. He see all the news. He knows everything that's going on, and you're not talking about. You're not saying what had happened to these cops. 5 of them, like yesterday, day before, yes, 5 of them. You're not saying anything that after Fox News went and did a broadcast. What's his name? Brian Kilmeade. That they shot up a homeless encampment, because he said that the homeless, like Lawrence was saying, that they don't want to receive the resources, which they don't have beds for them. They need to lock them up. So it's a crime if you're poor. It's a crime to be poor. It's a crime if you're homeless. And then the other host is saying, Brian Kilmeade, saying they need to be euthanized. Kill them. He literally said that. Didn't Jesus say that we're supposed to take care and feed the poor and clothe the poor? I mean, how horrible is that? You could be on top one day and the next day have nothing. Don't ever think that it couldn't happen to you. And what is somebody going to say, that you don't deserve to exist because you've fallen on hard times, that you're homeless? If you don't have someone to help you, you're going to be out on those streets. Lose your job. Most Americans live from paycheck to paycheck. Try losing your job and see how long it takes. What, 2 or 3 days before you start stinking? You get nasty and dirty from sleeping outside. You'll look homeless quick, fast, in a hurry. We got to do better. And we could spend, $75 billion, whatever, on people that have illegally entered this country, and we can't take care of our own homeless people. Something is wrong with that picture. We got monies for people that are not supposed to be here, but we don't have money for Americans. This is America First channel. America First. Take care of our people. Don't throw, and they had the homeless person tell me he felt like trash, like they throwing away like trash. And that's not right. And don't think that things couldn't happen to you, that you could fall on hard times. It takes one, it can happen like that. Look at all those federal workers that lost their jobs. All these people that lost incomes. They were working their jobs 20, 25. They lost everything. They lost their jobs, probably they pinched. They lost everything. So you got to be careful when you turn your nose up at people because you don't think it could happen to you. We got to take care of each other. And I really believe that we're being distracted, because while we're sending National Guards into black only neighborhoods, and everybody else is just shooting up this country, and meanwhile you got Putin and China and India, they come together in a huddle because they want to be the world leaders and the world powers. And they can't take us individually, but they can take us together. Trump can't even stop the EU from buying Russian oil. That's like backstabbing the United States of America. Trump trying to put sanctions on them, and the EU's buying their oil from Russia. Make it make sense. So anyway, I'm going to do a live after that. I'm going to show some of the other parts that Trump is like, I don't know. He got to talk about all of it. Those people, those cops that serving us deserve to be respected. They deserve it. Their lives meant as much as anyone else's lives. When did their lives become so obsolete? The police officers. They didn't even get a mention. When did their lives become so irrelevant? Because a black person didn't kill them? If a black person didn't kill them, it would have been world news. This is not right. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to dive into it. Okay. Put the pipe down and see. Okay. You know what? I don't care what you say. But I thank you for the donation. But the truth is the truth. And you could agree to disagree, but that's the truth. If you don't think that those cops were killed, go look up the news. If you can find it, in York, Pennsylvania, 5 police officers were shot. 3 of them were shot to death. They wouldn't even call. When they get the news conference, they said, we're only going to mention his name one time. They weren't plastering pictures on the news. They didn't do any of that. That's not right. That's not right. The homeless encampment, I'm not sure where it was at. I think it was in Minneapolis. I'm not sure. I forget. The owner of the property allowed 70 homeless people to encamp. It was his property. He said, I allowed them to be there. And so he said he's fighting the city about it because they have nowhere to go, and it's his property. He's being fined $15,000. But they went in on his property, bulldozed it. After it was shot up, after the Fox News reporter said that they need to be euthanized. That's horrible. Shot up the encampment. Nobody's trying to help people that need help that are Americans, and that's wrong. That's wrong. And that's what Speak the Truth is about. And thank you for the donation. Anybody else want to give no donation? Because we can agree to disagree. That's what this channel is all about, is for us to be able to communicate. Like, I don't agree with that person because somehow they're butthurt. I don't know what it is, because everything I'm saying is you can go to Ground News, you could go to some of these news programs or whatever, and you can find this information out for you. You can fact check it. You can fact check it. That's what you can do. Fact check it. That's all you have to do. Fact check it. The news is for all of us. It's online. It's on channels. You can fact check everything. Google it. Use AI. Find out for yourself. Fact check. Everything I said, fact check it.
ChatGPT.
Try ChatGPT. Fact check it. That's all. You know, you have people that they want a scenario and they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to be in bubble land.
They want their own narrative.
They want their own narrative, stay in bubble land. And when you tell them the truth, if you don't believe it, because I don't know y'all know, there's no reason to lie to you. I'm not beholden to y'all. I'm beholden to God. I'm not for red or blue. I'm for God. You know, I'm going to stand before God and give an account of my life. And not you. You're going to give account of your life for God. Everything you've done and everything you ever said, you're going to give God, you're going to give account to God.
And Bobby said a good point. He was replying to someone, but he said she voted for him.
I did.
She is in her right to be critical of him.
Thank you.
Which is
exactly
it.
That's exactly. I'm not someone that's trashing him, but I can critique him honestly. Like he said, I believe if he wasn't president, we would be in World War III right now. We would really have, this country was plumbering to the bottom. There's no way we were going to survive because the people that were running didn't have the capabilities, and they were to bring this country back, and they would have left the borders open. This country would have been overrun by everyone. Everyone. And Russia and China would be the world leaders right now.
You can't forget about all the terrorists in the country now.
Oh yeah, we got everything here. So he needed to be in office, and I voted for him. We're not gonna get it twisted, but that don't mean I agree with everything he does. His wife don't agree with everything he does. The people on his administration don't agree with everything he does. Megyn Kelly doesn't agree with everything he does. Tucker, what's his name, Elijah? Tucker, many Republicans or whatever and Democrats don't agree with everything he does. No one, and that's a fact. And I'm no different. I support him in the majority of things, but I don't support what he's doing to the Black community. I would never support that. If you're not going to show the same energy towards other communities that's causing more havoc and that are literally murdering people, like police officers, and is going unchecked, that's showing that biases. And you're going to say that Black people are born criminals? Really? No, we're not. But when you paint that picture, people can't tell, okay, she has her PhD or she has her master's degree. They can't see that. We don't have to prove who we are to anyone. We know who we are. We show our humility every day. But we know black people don't have to prove anything to anyone on this earth. Period. Especially from people who have done us the most harm. Isn't that crazy? Trying to prove something to people? No. I don't try to prove anything to anybody. The only person I try to prove something to is that I'm responsible is God. God is first in my, it's God. And I have to do what's right. Period. But there's a lot of good that Trump has done. But I don't think he's going to get what he's doing now. He thinks that he has it made, and he's not being honest. This is not what black people want. Biden already did this to black people. This is the same playbook. We're not going for the okie doke that's going around. That does not end crime by locking up black people. Because we got every kind of gang member in this country now. We got everything here now. It's not us. And as far as I can see, the biggest threat isn't us in this country. And that's a fact. That's a fact. But we're targeted. But we're going to speak up. I did make calls to Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, because I don't need people with titles, in the ACLU, all these, different organizations. We got to do right by people, and speak up for what's right. And that's what I'm going to do. But I'm making my calls. I don't talk to the peons. I like talking to the head dog. I would love to have a conversation with Trump. He needs to hear from American citizens, black American citizens that have supported him. He needs to hear from us because we're not rocking with this. And he continued like this, no matter what he does or continue to do. I thought he was a president for all Americans. You can't just be about one segment. In order to make this country what he wants it to be, all of us have to do well. I thought that was the mission. All of us have to do well. You can't have 300,000 black women losing their jobs when most of them are head of households. And they were hit mostly by, the federal government jobs, if they had the federal jobs or whatever. But black women got hit harder than anyone else. How come we're always the ones that's hit with everything? But, we got to do right. We got to do right, and we're all going to answer to God. But I'm going to come back on, and I'm going to show you what he's not talking about. And I can't believe that he didn't shake his head and say anything about the ongoing killings of these police officers and what's happening, the shootings of children and the shootings of all these other people. I don't understand. Like even a young black man, Trey Reed, he's at college. And they found him hung from a tree. We're not even going to play that. We know that's a message. Black people don't hang themselves from trees. That's called a lynching. 2025 lynching. And it found a white homeless man hung from a tree after Charlie Kirk passed away. So this is stuff he didn't talk about. He should be talking about that. Not keep spewing the same thing about, I'm coming to Chicago. No, they don't need a National Guard. They need resources to put into those neighborhoods to have the programs to help those young people that nobody has done or seem to have done. But all crime rate has been going down all over the United States. But he needs bodies because, those prisons that they built, they need to keep them filled. So they need more black bodies in them. And they need more slavery. That's why the farmers that are complaining, they need people to pick their crops, and now you're getting rid of all the illegal immigrants. He said, I'm gonna have people for you. I'm going all these black areas, and I'm don't worry. This is all planned. Look, ain't nothing new under the sun. Same playbook, but we see it now. So we're gonna be talking about it. I'm gonna try to do another live and put that up. But that has nothing to do with it's always something. You know, always something. It's like, who are we going to support? The left has been horrible. I thought the right was like, they never did all this stuff to us, and now here comes Trump. So we got a lot to think about. Got a lot to think about. So anyway, you guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, turn on notification. I'm gonna try to come back up on here and post the stuff that I just been talking about, because people like receipts, and I don't know how this is not being talked about. I don't understand it. How it's not being talked about. Not going to call someone that killed 3 police officers, wounded 2. I had to keep. I don't even know another one has passed, and that's not even mentioned.
Gina, you completely, like, it went over your head, everything my mom has been saying. Trump is not on the lookout for black people.
That's not looking out for us.
He's putting black people in danger.
Yeah.
What he needs to be doing is like, who is that mayor? Mayor
Mayor West. No, I think it's Mayor West in Baltimore.
Yeah, the mayor of Baltimore. Like, look into what he's doing and what he's saying that should be done to help the black communities and black people and just people in general who are going through these mental health crises. You know, not people don't look at it typically for black people. Well, when you see these horrible crimes, now first thing I think about is, okay, they're obviously feeling sorry for the victim, but I'm saying there's like has to be something mentally not right with them. They have their mental health has to be messed up like they do for all the other people who have shot up places. It has to be also a mental health that needs to be addressed.
That's right. Black people have mental health issues as well, and nobody. Every time it's white killing, and even the cops. They had something happen in their family. Oh, they had mental health issues. All these excuses. Oh, he was a good kid. They calm. No name calling. They don't even want to mention their names. Like, but all black people have been traumatized in this country. Black people have mental health issues as well, but nobody ever says that.
What did they recently call that one guy? Like what was it, like a painter or something?
An actor.
Yeah, actor.
I couldn't believe, I've never seen a news conference where somebody literally killed 3 police officers, ambushed them, and 2 are fighting for their lives. And they tell me they're only going to mention his name once, and like 40 more times they just called him and the actor. And you're going to grace him with calling him an actor instead of this horrible, evil, wicked human being, this monster. What he did to them, they talking about an actor. Really? Nah, dog. Well, anyway, those officers deserve better than that, and I'm just so shocked that that's not a highlight. And we got to do better, America. We got to do better. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. Look for the notification. I'm going to bring on Birch Gold from Philip Peters from Birch Gold. He's going to come on and discuss, like, you know, investing into gold and silver. This is something I'm doing. I said this will be great for my audiences, because a lot of times we have hundreds and thousands of people that actually be on our lives. When this chat is over, it's really going to be like, say, 2,000 to 3,000 people that have. Oh, thank you. It's gonna thank you so much for the flowers. It's gonna be like 2,000 to 3,000 or 4,000 people that's actually chatting. You know, we can't even see all the chat. And like, if you want something to stand out, you gotta super chat us, and we will read, whether we agree with you or not. We will read it. And think about becoming a member of this channel. But we just want to speak the truth. We want everyone to do well.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that President Trump was going to bring the country together, not continue to divide us. The election is over. He's supposed to be the president of all Americans. All of us. All of us. And that's what I want to see. I want the people that we elect into office, I want them to represent all of us, regardless how you vote. They're supposed, in my community, I voted Republican, but my congressman is Democrat. He still has to represent me. And that's what I expect him to do. So they have to represent all of us. All of us. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. That's right. Yeah, they have to, you know. So anyway, we're going to try to jump back on, because I really, like, I do a lot of Trump. but I really want to talk about the other issues, and that's why I've been trying to encourage people to hit the notification. This weekend I'm gonna be uploading, so hit the notification so that when I upload, that you'll be notified. And I'm gonna start just posting stuff like that because I know my lives be kind of long and people don't go back, but we be having juicy stuff. And think about leaving a comment after the live. Those are the ones we can read. We can't see all this on the screen, but if you leave a comment afterwards, we will respond and take it. Respond to your comment. Take what you said into consideration. There's no bashing. There's no judging. Just be respectful. That's all we ask. You got anything you want to say before we jump off?
Let's read a comment.
Oh.
Yeah.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thanks God for joining us. Come back. I'm going to try to jump back on here again, probably at around, I know it's going to be kind of late, probably between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. We'll just come back on. See y'all then. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.